YXBA is back, and I'm ready to mash some buttons.
Tiger uppercut!
Shoryuken!
So this is just another quick reminder that our Splatoon giveaway is coming up in about 10 days at the end of March. So if you haven't already, please subscribe and leave a comment below to enter to win Splatoon. So for a while we were really playing a game of wait and see in terms of when virtual reality would actually come out and how much the different options would cost. We got some details on the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive, but recently we actually got the final details on the PlayStation VR, and I thought that now would be a good time to talk about it and also give some perspective on how this might affect Nintendo going forward. So the Nintendo naysayers out there have been talking to me a lot in the past and have stated things like, Nintendo's always behind on the latest trends, and well, they're not even going to be doing a VR, and they're just going to get demolished by the VR movement. And I have been very clear to them that I think VR is really, really cool and has some big potential, but it also is going to be a pretty niche market when it starts out, because it's going to be pretty expensive, and it's also going to be a little bit on the dorky side of things, at least at first, until society gets used to it. And as it turned out, I think that I'm absolutely right on that. I mean, there was some talk about, the HTC Vive is really expensive, and the Oculus Rift is really expensive, and both of them require a $1,000 plus PC, but Sony is going to come out with something that is really mass market friendly. I even remember the guys, Greg Miller and Colin Moriarty, on Kind of Funny Games, were suggesting that they thought an all-in price for PlayStation VR was going to be somewhere in the $250 to $300 range. But as it has turned out, it's much more expensive than that. They're bordering on false advertising, listing the price at $399.99, because that doesn't actually get you everything that you need to experience VR. In fact, it requires the PlayStation Eye, which is about another $50, $60, and a lot of the games require 2 Move controllers. So by the time you actually have the entire technology, you're talking about a $500 price point. And the fact is that you're also trying to sell basically a $600 peripheral onto a machine that is, the more cost-conscious consumers, those who are buying consoles rather than high-end PCs. So the cost of the actual peripheral is significantly more than the cost of the console. Whereas on PC, the cost is quite high, but you're targeting people who are willing to spend $1,000 plus to get the latest and greatest technology. But ultimately, I'm very excited for the technology, and if it wasn't for the likely fact that the Nintendo NX is coming out this year, and that's going to gobble up quite a bit of my free spending money, I would probably be looking at getting a VR setup, probably the Oculus Rift, which would also require me to upgrade from my GTX 660 video card on my PC, but I just think that long term, the Oculus Rift is probably the safer route to take. It's an exciting technology, but I just think that it's going to be something that starts really, really modestly in terms of sales. It's not going to be a Wii type of situation where the thing is just flying off shelves, because it's not going to appeal to a mass market, both in the price point and also the fact that it's not going to have the mainstream cool factor that the Wii had. It's going to have more of a techie nerd, guys like me, cool factor. And I think that it's just going to take a while, probably 2-3 years at least, until we see somebody selling 10 million of these machines per year. I live in Canada, so the price that you guys get if you live in the United States for PlayStation VR is, well, you're looking at probably $500 for the entire experience. In Canada, we pay more taxes, more of a sales tax, and we also have a really bad exchange rate right now. So for me, by the time I bought a game and had the entire experience, I probably would be looking at least $900. I mean, that is a lot of money, and it's cool. It's cool, but I think I'm going to stick with my Virtual Boy in the meantime. So overall, virtual reality I think is really cool, but I don't see it having a major material impact on Nintendo and the Nintendo NX, at least not for the next year or two. And I do really hope that Nintendo is going to leave the door open to doing a VR headset in the future on the NX. I know they have made some statements like VR is not fun and VR is not social, but you have to keep in mind that it's Nintendo that is saying that, and when you look back at Nintendo history, the main reason that they feel the Virtual Boy wasn't a success was because it was not social. But I think that when you look at where the technology is going to go long term, I think it's actually going to be really, really social, kind of the way that Facebook in its own way is a very social thing, but other people think that Facebook is antisocial because you never leave your home and you don't have real human interactions. But for those people who use it on a daily basis, they feel that it is actually very social behind a computer screen, and I think that eventually VR is going to be a very cool and very social thing. So give me your thoughts. Do you think that I am underselling the current appeal of virtual reality at the current price point and the current level of experience that it provides, or do you think I'm spot on? This has been Colin Unger reminding you to keep your thumbs glued to YXBA, and always remember to select Start. If you enjoyed this video, click like and subscribe.